wanna talk? So let's talk. Yeah. Talk. You wanna talk? You gotta talk, you need to talk. News talk.
I talk, you talk to Solomon. I talk, you talk to Solomon. Yeah, let's talk to Solomon. Talk to Solomon.
You gotta talk.
Good evening and welcome. It's Talk to Solomon. Thank you so much for being with us. My co-host,
Chief Steve.
Police Chief, retired Police Chief Steve Davis, and entrepreneur, McDonald's franchise owner, and writer for Jewish World Review, Dave Weinbaum, with us for the show today. Gentlemen, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Stan. Pleasure to be here. By the way, I want to thank all the peeps on Twitter and Facebook that are online and making comments now. I want to thank my brother Marty and the idiot. Impeach the idiot.
Oh,
thank you.
We don't even talk to him. Anyway, our guest this hour is my friend Major General Jerry Curry, retired. General, how are you, sir?
Stan, I'm doing super. How are you doing? And it's hot up here, by the way.
By the way, it's hot here too. It's hot everywhere. And until we cleanse the stench in the White House, it's going to be very warm in America. At any rate, I wanted to ask you, General, what you thought of this proposal by one of my favorites, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, that we cut off all aid to Pakistan until they free this doctor who helped us to find Osama bin Laden.
Sounds right to me. We should have done a long time ago. Pakistan's not alone. A lot of these little third world countries have been playing us every which way you can think of. And I don't understand why we put up with it. We need to look them in the face and say, look, guys, you go down this road, you're going to go down alone. But if we have to go down with you, bad things may happen to you because we may do them to you.
I like the sound of that, Chief.
I wish the general was in the White House instead of who we got there right now, because that's a much better approach. Our current communist in chief is not qualified for this job. His record on foreign policy is showing that now. He ran on the idea of just getting us out of these wars that we're in. That's not good enough. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Dave?
No, he doesn't. Pardon me. Go ahead.
Dave,
Well, I'm afraid he does know what he's doing. He doesn't like America, and he's doing things that are wrong for America. And he's got a whole bunch of Democrats on his side too. That's the curious thing to me, is how many Democrats have gone along with this anti-American behavior.
General?
I got to tell you, I like what Dave said. Dave, I'm in agreement with you. I didn't think too many people would agree with us, but I think you're right. I think this guy does know what he's doing, and it's all bad. We don't know what this guy is really up to, but he's up to something. And when it becomes clear, I think we're all going to be shocked, by the way. But it seems to me very, very, very clear that what he is up to is no good for the United States of America.
Now, we have a host, or part-time host, or a substitute host on MSNBC, and I don't know what that stands for, but it can't be good. And he was saying he didn't feel comfortable, and he used every big word he could think of, in assigning the title of hero to those who have died protecting his right to be a complete Obama hole. Does that sound right? Okay.
Perfect.
At any rate, I just wondered how that struck you, General, that some guy who has never served anyone but himself, some guy that wouldn't stand up to a sneeze, some guy who is a coward and probably other things that I don't particularly agree with, would have the unabashed nerve to say, well, you can't call someone who's died in his country's uniforms protecting the rights that we all take for granted, you can't call that person a hero.
There's not much you can do for somebody like that. The easiest way to handle a guy like that is put him on a helicopter. You take him up to about 2,000 feet and you throw him out without a parachute. Somewhere down there before he hits the ground, he'll get religion.
I thought maybe we'd give him a vasectomy with a helicopter blade. Dave?
I don't know that I'd drop him from a helicopter. After all, it's stupid speech. It's idiotic. It's cowardly speech, but it is free speech. And he's got a right to make an idiot out of himself. And you know, and
But
thank
that's not
God
the
these
po-
guys do. Thank God these guys do speak because it shows truly what they are, and it shows what America's choice is. Do you want people like that running the government, or do you want people that love and respect and understand the United States of America and how great this country is?
The guy has issued an apology using just as many big words as he used before and just as ineptly. And I'll spell that for him if I get the chance, and I will also make a deposit in his bank. But the point is not that he has. You have a right to say what you want in this country, and that's what our men and women have died for. I'm in total agreement. But that doesn't mean that you're not held liable, that you're not culpable for the impact of your words. There's a difference between free speech and incendiary thoughts. Not that you can't say them, but I personally think that the guy should be run over by a garbage truck as long as there's a condom on the bumper. General, is that reasonable?
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable. Dave, I agree with you that everybody has the right to free speech. And I think I have the right to a helicopter.
Well,
General, I'll fly it for you. No problem.
I'm never going to crush you, man. I'll tell you that.
I tell you what, I think that the vasectomy with the helicopter blades, it will make an impact. There's no question about that.
Let's remember, too, that most of these, if not, many of these, if not most of these soldiers and other military members that fought for our country did so as volunteers. They weren't forced to do it. They signed up on their own. And to treat them like this is just totally, totally despicable.
I'm glad you brought that up because a very, very close friend of mine hates this guy just as much as I do. So I was going to say he was my friend. A guy named Geraldo Rivera. He's a Jewish guy that's half Puerto Rican and 3/4 nose. But anyway, he said, don't laugh.
Boom.
He said today, ready? He said, the people in the military are there because they can't find a job anywhere else. They're there because they're not very smart. That's what this, now it's free speech. He has every right to say it, and I have every right to contribute to the defense fund of whoever takes him out. But here's the reality. That's exactly how the left thinks. General?
Yeah, it's exactly how they think. And, I'm still partial to my helicopter. But those...
Me too.
But those people do think that, and that is what's going on in their mind. It's very unfortunate. The United States is a great country. It was a great country back in the days of Patrick Henry. All of those people sacrificed everything. They laid the sacred fortune and honor. They laid it all on the line back then in those days. The people who are volunteers now in our volunteer armed forces are of the same caliber people. They are laying it all on the line. And even though you may have the right to talk about them, demean them, I don't think much of the person who does that. And it seems to me that if I had an opportunity, I would have a very heart-to-heart discussion with them.
Yeah, you take their heart out and talk to it, and then you put it back in.
You got it.
David.
What are you guys doing here? Come on, look, we have something to sell here. We have a country to sell, and we've got to sell it to people that are wanting to understand why there's a difference between them and us. We want them to understand that their way is the wrong way, and we want them to also understand that our forefathers did a hell of a thing when they created the Constitution. And I
think we had a little freeze there on Dave. Hopefully he'll be back in just a second. Chief?
Well, this is you mentioned it, though, but this is an example of how the left feels about this country and about our military. And so rather than, and also if it is hard to find a job in this country, whose fault is that? Who's in office right now? Who's created all these problems? It's been the left that's done all of this. But our military members have, like the general said, have put their lives on the line for this, and not for the money, not for the benefits, because they love this country. Since they love this country, they're the enemy of the left as well.
And I think that's well said. The left looks down their noses. In fact, am I the only one that notices that Barack Obama is the most arrogant looking, if not arrogant acting, if not truly arrogant individual who's ever been in an office? Can you imagine the president of a hot dog stand, the president of a company, the president, the governor of a state, practicing sticking their nose up in the air and looking down at people? Is that just me, General?
No, I think it does take practice. Probably every day, every morning, you got to remind yourself to get your nose up there higher, higher, higher. It's very unfortunate, but I really believe we've been sold a bill of goods by this guy, and I don't know what can be done with him. But if he's not voted out of office, this country is on a bad track for the next 4 years.
All right. Do we have Dave back?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now, Dave. Go ahead, please.
Well, that I would thoroughly endorse the general on, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about this election. It's vital, and for us to listen to somebody that disses the troops like the commentator did, and disses them like our president does, we have to educate people. We have to do it through shows like Solomon. I got my little radio show in Rolla, Missouri. I got my website, DaveWeinbaum.com. We got Twitter. We've got Facebook. We've got all the social networks. We have to get out there and align other people to talk to other people until we win this election. It is critical. This is a time in our country that is a turning point. Either we turn bad or we turn good, and that's where we are today.
Well said. General, in California, a fellow by the name of Nathan Taylor, Sergeant Nathan Taylor, three tours in Afghanistan, came home, visiting his family. He was invited to a party. He went. They were doing things. He's a clean-cut guy. He says, no, this is not for me. I'm not into anything illegal or immoral. So he just left. He went downstairs. He was sitting in his car calling his family, and somebody from the party came down, and they shot him and killed him. And now they're putting up a reward to see who it was. There were 25 people shot in Chicago just last night. We have, and I'm going to say it, we have in the black community in America a total, that's wrong, an almost total loss of respect for human life. We had a black woman who was pregnant, 9 months pregnant, who was kidnapped, set on fire, and shot by a friend of her boyfriend who was the father of the baby because she had refused to have an abortion. Now, we'll talk about that story later, but we have seen in America a building over a number of years of a hate for America, a hate for God, a hate for other people, and even a hate of themselves. And I believe we are literally in a tinderbox situation. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I think you're right. We need to have all across America those in positions of leadership. I'm not talking about just the president, but whether or the NAACP or Jesse Jackson, but everybody who's involved in leadership, whether we're talking about Boy Scouts, whether you're talking about the city council or the governor of the state or somebody on Capitol Hill, all across America, we're responsible. This is our country. These are our people. And we need to have conversations constantly with the American populace suggesting such things as it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong to be shooting people, to be treating them the way that we're treating them. This is not the way you build a country. This is not the way you build a family. This is not the way that you go about creating a wonderful nation that will do great things in the world, that will be the world's leader. I don't hear enough of it. I just don't hear enough of people who are out there talking up America, talking up what we should be doing. Instead of the president who was out there almost making fun of the armed forces people, we need people in America today who are out there talking up the goodness of this country and saying, I will lay my life on the line if necessary to see to it that this country becomes the country that it can be, that Reagan called the shining city on a hill.
Chief?
Well, this country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles and values. And unless we keep God involved in this, we're not going to make it. And I've been involved, or not involved, but I've visited many of the black churches here in Indianapolis, and I believe this is true nationwide as well, that the black community is very religious, mostly very Christian, and they go to service regularly, but their leadership in those churches still promote politicians that promote these bad values and bad ideas and keep the black community downtrodden. And it's just a shame. It's almost a crime. But until that part of the community really wakes up and starts voting for the right people that will promote Judeo-Christian values in the black community, they're just stuck.
Dave?
I witnessed Bill Clinton when he cooperated with the Republicans and cut welfare down, stopped welfare at a certain point. And I was also giving speeches at Urban League dinners, NAACP dinners in St. Louis as a McDonald's president of a co-op. And I noticed differences before and after the welfare stoppage. Before, there was a lot of harping about how bad things were and how ugly things were. After welfare stopped,
well, we lost Dave again for some reason. Let me.
Am I off again?
All right, go ahead. Go ahead now. You're back.
Oh, okay. Well, these people who were taken off welfare went out and got jobs, and they were proud of it, and they went out and started businesses, and some of them even today probably have made it well. They didn't believe it before that they could do this, and the chief is right. We need to educate them, but the way to educate them is by weaning them off of unnecessary welfare. That is what's killing their spirit. And it's wrong for these leaders in the NAACP and the black churches, not all, but some, who say, no, you've got to get on the government dole. That's got to stop. It's not going to change unless that stops.
Well, I couldn't agree. That's why I made the statement I made before, Dave, that I think that if we announced whoever we is, the government, that effective in the year 2015, that the government will be out of the taking care of folks business. We will reduce taxes. We will reduce the size of government. We will go to a consumption tax so the government won't be involved in your business, and we will turn to the moral side, the character side, the quality side, and say to every company, every individual, you're in charge of your life and you're in charge of life, making it better, and that we all pull together to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. I have met in my day, and I've been around a few days, more than a few days, the kind of people, hey, David, stifle yourself. I have met.
I'm agreeing with you.
I know. I have met the kind of people that will look for any way, always, and every way to get over, to get something for nothing, and to do absolutely nothing. And what you do with someone in your family, someone on your company payroll, someone in your circle of friends, with that kind of a person, is you say, hey, I'm done with it. You're not good. The game is over. You're now on your own. You're going to sink or swim because you have been holding on and leeching on for too long. And when people hear that, they make a choice. And then 90% of them are going to make a choice to be self-sufficient because they don't want to starve. Now, General, am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you're right. Listen, I don't understand the mentality. I came up not in a poor family, but I came up in a good, solid working class. blue-collar family. My father was a steel worker. My mother was a minister in the church. I grew up in that family. We didn't have a lot of money. My dad couldn't send me off to college. So all the degrees that I got at night school. I had to work in the daytime, go to school at night. I never considered that to be something that was a burden too heavy for me to bear. I said, that's life. That's what I'm faced with. My options are very simple. They're almost like the ones you had right there. They're very simple. I can either work hard and be successful in life, or I can have a pity party, feel sorry for myself, and go around and look for a handout. Well, I got to tell you, looking for a handout was not an option in my family. My dad and mother would have killed me if I had decided that's kind of life I wanted. I had to go to work. I worked. I went to school at night. I graduated. I completed all the academic stuff I was supposed to, and I'm better for it. I'm not worse for it, and I don't feel put upon.
Chief?
I think the best example is some of our own Native Indian reservations. The Indians on reservations today, they live, many of them, in a land of squalor, because that's all the government can possibly ever provide for them. It's a very mediocre way of life. They can never advance. There have been other Indian tribes that were denied reservation lands, and today they are very wealthy, very well-to-do, and they will tell you they're so glad they weren't allowed reservation land because it forced them to be productive, and now they have much better lives. Much better.
No question. Dave?
Well, I agree with that, and I found it interesting that you're at least willing to wean people off of them for 2.5 years instead of just dropping them tomorrow, which is what I understood you to say there, Stan. But yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's right. I mean, it gives people time to figure out, well, gee, I got to do something with my life, okay? And just maybe I can be as good as the other guy. You know, here's the thing. If I was a black person, and I would be disgusted every time Barack Obama turns around and yells racist at somebody for criticizing him. What is it? He's unable to protect himself? He's unable to answer a criticism on his policies because he's not apt enough. He doesn't have enough ability to stand on his credibility. He's got to go to the race issue as a straw man. I would be upset about this if I were black, and more blacks ought to be upset about it. More and more blacks should be upset about being coddled and babied. They don't need it. I mean, it's like me wanting to be a point guard for the Boston Celtics. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to demand Rondo give me equal time. I don't think it's going to work, though. It's not. It's a failure.
They'd never find a uniform to go around you. That's just a thought. All right. Veterans have given Romney his lead, according to Gallup. Now, let's do some quick math. According to Gallup, that Romney leads 58-34 among veterans, but Obama leads among everyone else, 48-44. Now, the last time I looked, the number of veterans in this country, past and present, is a relatively, it's a good size number, but maybe it's 10, 12 million. It's not 50 million, or maybe I'm off. General, how many veterans are there in this country?
Well, I don't know the number, but I think the smaller number is more accurate.
So how is it that it's only veterans who are routinely denied their right to vote by this administration and the Clinton administration, where they arranged for the votes to get here just in time not to be counted? And we see that in every state run by Democrats, they disenfranchise the veterans because they know veterans, knowing the reality of the world, are more likely going to be for someone who's strong than someone who's weak, which typically is the case. So, having said that, General, do you believe that veterans are going to be more engaged? Are they going to be more aggressive? Are they going to vote earlier so that they don't get cut out? Because right now the government is in a position they can make sure that the ballots are delayed and they never get a chance to vote.
Yeah, the veterans want to vote. They want to get out there in front and cast their votes. They are disfranchised by the Congress. I think the Congress really, and the president we currently have, really does not want to give them the opportunity to express their right to vote. And so I think it's a very unfortunate situation. But what happens, the veterans are anti-Obama, and the reasons are very simple. It has nothing to do with race, by the way, nothing at all to do with race. What it has to do is when you've been out there on the battlefield and you've been shot at a few times and had to have your pants scared off of you, and seen your buddies die all around you and yourself close to dying too, and knowing that you're getting ready to go, what happens is that you see life through a prism that is rather clear. There's some clarity that comes to your political thought, and that clarity is you can tell a phony and you can tell one from another. And you can take a look at who will and who won't stand for this country. And you know very clearly as you're on that battlefield that the man currently in the White House is really not your friend, and he's not on your side.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Major General Jerry Curry, Dave Weinbaum from Jewish World Review, Chief Steve Davis, and me, Stan Solomon, here on Talk to Solomon. Do you like to eat? I do. We all run to the store if we're hungry, right? Well, there are times when that doesn't work. And for those times, and it may be for an hour, and it may be for a day, and it may be for a week, who knows, God's in charge, you need to have quality food. Alpine Air, that's what this is, quality food. It has extended shelf life, and it tastes great. You should store what you eat and eat what you store. Just go to cpnlive.com, click on the icon for the Alpine Air foods. It's incredibly reasonable. It's actually a way to save money. Alpine Air has quality food that's going to be there when you need it. It's always better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Alpine Air at cpnlive.com. Click on the icon and protect your family. You have a computer, if you're alive today, which means you have a hard drive, which means it's going to break down. Mozy, the backup people, for thousands, for Stan, for thousands of people, for tens of thousands of people, is simply common sense. You go to cpnlive.com, click on the icon for Mozy, the backup people, and sign up. It's just a few dollars a month. Let me tell you something. We had a break-in. They stole our whole computer. You know what? When they take the computer, you can't recover anything, but we had Mozy. We had the backup. We were able to restore everything simply by buying another computer. cpnlive.com, click on the icon for Mozy, the backup people, and give yourself common sense, peace of mind, great value, the best thing you've ever done. Sooner or later, it's going to be Mozy, the backup people. I am holding in my hand a product. It's called TR10 Supercolloidal Silver. It's a natural antibiotic that works. You know, the reason we use silver to make cutlery, silverware, is because nothing grows on silver. It's the reason they put it in your teeth. It's the reason they use silver instruments to operate on the brain. TR10 is very inexpensive. Just go to cpnlive.com, click on the icon for the TR10, and order a quart. It's so inexpensive, it's really silly. But it's invaluable when you have a sore throat, when you have a cold, when you have something you're concerned about in yourself, your child, whether you have to spray it in your eyes or swallow it or put it on your skin, makes no difference. It's totally safe. It has less silver than is the safe level in drinking water, yet it's done in such a way that it does the job. A natural antibiotic, yours, TR10, supercolloidal silver, from cpnlive.com. Just click on the icon.